My grandfather immigrated from Japan in the late 1800s from Chiba, Japan, which is not far from Tokyo. Unfortunately, because of cultural differences, language problems, discrimination, life was very difficult for the first-generation Japanese into the United States.
Life was hard back in China for my father and his family, and to really earn money to feed the family, my dad decided to leave behind his home to come to a country that at that time was not that welcoming. And so he ended up in San Francisco.
During World War II, there was an executive order 9066, which was signed by President Roosevelt, which forced all Japanese Americans into internment camps, or we call them now the American prisons. So my family was moved into horse stalls at the Tanfran racetrack as the assembly center, and my father told stories about having to take care of a 1-year-old infant and a 2-year-old daughter out of a horse stall in the racetrack.
There was a time World War II happened. There was the Chinese Exclusion Act, which prohibited women from China to come to the United States. So he and my mother ended up being separate for 18 years. When a person chooses to leave their homeland, it must mean that back home was pretty rough. Because why would you go to someplace else where you didn't speak the language and endure hardship? It's a personal story, but you look at my parents, they came to this country, they saved, and they eventually bought their own house. Now it was maybe 50 years when my dad was in this country, if we could buy it, but they had achieved a goal.
Right in the top floor, in the front half of that building. So those 3 windows were ours.
Asian Americans still represent like a huge percentage of the immigrant population today. They come to this country to start a new life. They start a new beginning for themselves and their family, and shelter, housing really represents, I think, the most tangible way people can experience that. For me, that's what AREAA is about, giving people opportunities, opening doors, giving people hope, and giving people really an opportunity for wealth creation for generations.
And I think that's a very common characteristic of a lot of the immigrants from Asia. Whether then or now, you come here, it's not an easy life, but you made the decision, you bust tail so that the next generation with opportunities through education or through other employment that would give them a better shot in the future.
After the World War II, when Japanese Americans were released from the prison camps, my family returned to San Francisco. And then as they became reestablished into the mainstream, they needed homes. So my father realized that it would be a good business to get involved in real estate. So he got his real estate license. And in order to be prosperous, you have to join the Real Estate Association. So he made application in 1955. And he was denied membership solely on the basis that he was of Japanese ancestry. I mean, I talked to some people who were members of the board of directors at that time, way back in 1955, and they confirmed the fact that they actually voted against my father because of his ethnicity. My father was denied membership, and then in 1990, I was selected to be president of the association. And at my installation dinner, and my father was seated at a table, and I told that story, and you can imagine when I gave my speech and seen him in the audience, I couldn't speak. I had a lump in my throat because of the look of my father. I was the first Asian president of the San Francisco Association of Realtors. And I also was the first elected Asian board of director member. But at that time, there were no committee chairs who were Asian, very few Asians participating in realtor activities. So I started the Asian Council at the San Francisco Association of Realtors. And that actually was the genesis of AREAA that we have today. A group of dedicated, very visionary real estate practitioners met in Houston, Texas. John Wong and I brought this group together, along with the help of the National Association of Realtors.
The Houston Association of Realtors was kind enough to offer us their meeting room, and it was really meant to be a brainstorming meeting. We had intended to come there and kind of discuss the issues and consider what might be possible in the future. And what happened was, in that room, there was so much excitement about us gathering together from different parts of the country to discuss the possibility of formation, that it actually was formed.
We left that room with a vision. We didn't have a name, we didn't have members, we didn't have any money, but as I said, we had this incredible vision to start a national Asian real estate association.
If there is a will, there is a way. Money comes second. Money is a byproduct of what we have worked for. And one thing I do believe, charity starts at home. The more you give, the more you shall receive. And it's just so true.
But I think at the end of the day, even if it's a small difference, it's a difference in itself. That, for me, is a reason to get up in the morning and be part of an association, makes an impact.
It doesn't matter what age you are in this industry, as long as you have the motivation and the drive, then you can succeed at any level.
AREAA, as it stands now, is the true voice of the Asian real estate practitioner across the country. We are giving opportunities for professional development for our members. We're giving them opportunities to make money. We have an incredible networking system across the country. AREAA is truly a wonderful organization.
And I think about the logo of AREAA, it's a logo that represents really a shelter, a roof line. But if you also change the character, you move one of the sides down, it's the Chinese character for mankind, Ren.